Well, welcome to another Wednesday edition of Virtually Tasting the featured Foggy Noggin Beer of the Week. This week we're going to be tasting Wee Wee. It's a Scottish Wee Heavy. Poured this beer about 20 minutes ago, hoping it would warm up just a bit, but it's about 60 degrees outside and poured it at 40 degrees, so I probably have raised it a few degrees. I was hoping to get it closer to the 50 degree range, but no such luck yet. I'm having some little gnats hitting my ear, but they're not drinking too much, so it'll be okay. Well, they sure seem like it. It's probably because of the richness and the wonderful aromas it's giving us. So a Wee Heavy, 9.8% alcohol by volume, 66 IBUs, original gravity 1090, terminal gravity 1016. We used Edinburgh water, and we used the Fuller's White Lab 002 yeast. And there's a lot of noise, and for some reason there's a lot of bugs out here tonight too, but we'll get through this. I got neighbors doing yard work, I got airplanes flying over, and hopefully you can hear me well, and we'll get through this. So I'm going to describe the beer, the recipe, a little history on it. We'll do some tasting. I'll turn the camera around. We can do some Q&A. So pose any questions you have about this, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. So this has two malts. It has crisp Maris Otter. That's the base malt, and it's 96% crisp Maris Otter, or 36 pounds in this third barrel batch, or 11 gallons. Crisp roasted barley is 1.5 pounds, and that's the other 4% of the malt bill. We mashed it in 158 degrees. That's a little bit warmer than a lot of the beers we do. We wanted to have long chain sugars, giving us a bigger mouthfeel. We wanted this to be a rich, elegant beer, and we did it at 158 for 60 minutes, and we sparged it out at 170 and collected all the sugars in our boil kettle, and we boiled it for 1 hour. So once the boil started, we added our first hops, UK Golding, 6 ounces at the 60 minute, and give us 55 IBUs. And then at 15 minutes left, another 2 ounces of UK Goldings for another 6 IBUs. And then at 5 minutes left, we added 3 ounces of UK Goldings for another 5 IBUs. Transferred to our fermenter at 65 degrees, let it rise to 68. We fermented this beer for 14 days, for 2 weeks. And we like to do this when it's a little bit cooler, so we can have that slow process. We don't get any fusel alcohol. It's going to have that smoothness to it, and we want to make sure we can brew all those sugars. Terminal gravity is 1016, so it was a pretty good fermentation starting at 1090. Let's take a look at it. So the color on this is at 32.2 SRM. It's dark. I can see a little bit of light through it. It's got a dark brown with a little reddish tones that you can see coming through, and it's got a nice tan head on it. Got a nice rich, sweet, malty sweetness to it. I don't get any hop pickup on it. It's all about the malty tones, the richness, the toffiness. It's just got a really good aroma to it. Wow. So viscosity-wise, it's got a bigger mouthfeel. That's exactly what we did with a higher mash temp. We wanted to get that. Up front, you got some of that sweet toffee-like bready character to it. A lot of it, and that's really the dominant flavor on it. You get a little warmth in the middle back part of your tongue from that 9.8% alcohol. Finishes with a dry, lightly sweet tone to it, but it's a dry finish, and it makes you really want to have another sip. So let's give you a little history on the Scotch Wee Heavy style. So this is a style with a long history, actually emerging in Scotland about 5,000 years ago. That's a really long time. Temperatures in that region were very cool, and cool enough where they were able to ferment their beers and age them for longer without any side effects from having those brutally hot summers. Much warmer in England, and so they were able to take account for that and use that to their advantage in brewing this beer. Also, these beers could be also categorized as Scottish ales. The Scotch ale Wee Heavy is different enough that it can be considered its own brew style. Traditionally, the term wee heavy was given to the strongest of the 4 Scottish ale substyles, along with a numerical symbol rating. So they would have like a 90 shilling, 60 shilling, 30 shilling, maybe a 160 shilling. That really was the cost of a cask when you went to the pub. Although those prices are no longer valid, it's still relevant and it's still used. So when you order a beer, you might see those listed as a 60 shilling or 90 shilling Scotch ale. Since hops are not native to Scotland, other additives such as herbs and spices were mixed and used in place of giving their beer their own distinct flavor composition. These beers are also brewed stronger than other Scottish ales and have a deeper caramelized quality. And I think that's where we're getting that toffee tone to it, is that caramelization to it. It's just really elegant flavor to it. They can also range from light to dark brown in appearance and have a robust tan head. They have strong malt aromas, notes of smokiness or earthy elements, should not have a high hop presence. The palate mimics the nose with deep, rich malt and caramelized flavors. When they say caramelized, I'm picking up the toffee tones, and that's what I really taste. Nowadays, a lot of people, because Scotch whiskey, they think that Scotch should have peated malt in it, smoky, and they're using it now, but that's really not a traditional aspect of this beer. The mouthfeel can be described as creamy and soft with a slightly viscous dry finish. It is exactly what we have here. And that's that higher mash temps giving us that exact character that we were really looking for here. Now, traditionally in Scotland, they were brewing these beers in the mid to upper 6, low 7% alcohol range. This being 9.8. This is much more of an American view on it because Americans do 7 to 10% on their interpretations of it. Delicious beer. Now it's 9.8, big beer. It's so approachable, so smooth. It's available in growler fills this weekend. 64-ounce growler fills for $28. It's really a great bargain for a beer that high in alcohol. And it's so smooth, and just keep in mind when you're drinking it that it is 9.8. I just don't want anyone to get fooled because it's so easy to drink, but it's got that, and you can taste that, the little of that alcohol in the back of that tongue when you're drinking it. You go to the foggynogginbrewing.com website, hit the beer tab, all the details on how to order this beer and other beers for growler fills, and then any bottles and other Foggy Noggin merchandise like the shirt. You can get those and have them picked up Friday and Saturday, 4 to 5 p.m. Turn this camera around and see who's here and see if there's any questions to be asked. Okay. We've got Justin, Kim, we've got Jeff, we've got Brad, Mark. Justin says, good hair day. Thank you. Melanie. And Justin says, rockin' it, buddy. So this is a great beer. If you've not had a Wee Heavy, I think that I would strongly suggest you to pick up a growler of this. You know, it's limited. There's it may last this weekend, may not. But and welcome Gordon for joining. But this beer style is so unique, and it's something that you really don't pick up. You don't see many Wee Heavies being brewed, and when they are, they're either smoky, which is not really traditional, or they're going to be too hoppy to get it out of character. It's not about the hops. It's about that rich maltness, that caramelization, that toffiness. Stephanie's just joined. Is elegance. And we've done this beer in the past when we've been open. We're able to serve it on nitro. And nitro gives you even a softer palate on it. It explores a few more of the hidden gems of this as nitrogen kind of explodes the flavor characteristic of it. This beer, though, as it's warming up a little bit more, it's exploding the character of the flavor qualities. And I suggest that you want to try drink this around 50 degrees. I find that it really opens up the character on it at that 50-degree mark. Scotch ales are a wonderful beer. We have done events featuring Scotch ales in the past. But this Wee Heavy is just delicious, and if you haven't had one, I really encourage you, because this is a beer you're gonna like. You're really gonna like it. And I think for this coming up weekend, it's supposed to be a little bit rainy, I think, this weekend, which should make this a great beer to do some things, maybe more indoors or on your deck, undercover, or you might want to do a little yard work, and then you want to refresh yourself and rejuvenate yourself with a nice Wee Heavy. Gordon's mouth is watering. Well, that's a good thing. I think that this beer is one that, just looking at it, you can see this, and it gives some nice lacing on the glass too. And I think that it's mouth-watering just to look at, but boy, if you could taste it, man, you'd be hooked. I already have one. Dave Thomas wants to take 2 growlers on his card, so there goes 2. And if that's how fast we're going to go, we're going to run out of this beer. So make sure you. And he has a growler card, so Dave does too. And I'll tell you that growler card for a beer like this, $28 for a growler fill. A prepaid growler card is $150, and you get 12 growler fills on that. And it doesn't matter if it's a 16 or 22 or 28. So right there, that's a $56 for 2 growlers, and it's just 2 spots on his growler card. So I mean, he's paid for a third of his card with just 2, which is 1/6 of his spots. It's almost like free beer. Zach just joined. Welcome, Zach. And Gordon says, any kegs? Well, the kegs are going to go to growler fills. Gordon, nice try though. I can't blame you for asking, but no, there is no kegs of this one available. But this is just an awesome beer. Just an awesome beer. So it's simple. You think about this beer, it's very simple. 2 malts. We've got Maris Otter, 96% of the malt bill, and we have roasted barley, the other 4%. And when you take beers and only one kind of hop, UK Goldings. So when you think about simplistic but brewed correctly with the right water, with the right mash temp, and the right fermentation temperatures, and the right duration of time to make sure you optimize all the flavors, don't speed the beer up, let it take its time, you're going to have a fantastic beer. We don't need 8 malts. We don't need 16 different kinds of hops. We don't need to have all those fancy things. You break it down to simplicity. Sometimes that's all you need, and just do it correctly. I can't believe anybody would not be satisfied with this beer. Well, Dave, if you let me know which day you're going to pick up your growlers, I'll make sure we have them ready for you, and you can mark them off on your prepaid growler card. So 5,000 years is a long time for a beer style to be around. So this style was, they can see in the history books that for 5,000 years they've been brewing this. Here's a good question. In technical terms, how long does it take to ferment and brew? How do you get the water maximized? Well, historically, brewers were some of the best. Brewers and monks were some of the greatest people of capturing history at the time. So the things they did, they wrote them down. And the brewers would keep track of the water they used, the ingredients they used, and temperatures they did. So they were very, very meticulous about all those things. And so we can look at historically how things were done, and we can pretty much recreate those things, even though we have better ingredients today and we have better tools to use it. But the intent of what they're trying to do, we can duplicate them. So a typical beer, if you're going to go to a high production brewery, they can ferment a beer in 3 to 4 days, and they can be drinking it in less than a week. We don't do that. We let the beer take its time. We don't want to speed things up. We keep it a little bit cooler temperatures, have a slower fermentation process. You don't get any of those higher alcohol flavors out of it, and that way that it's the smoothness. Fusel alcohols have that distinct character, and they tend to give me headaches, those fusel alcohols, because they're just not really being intended to be drank. We want the beer to take its time. So The quickest beer we'll do is 7 days fermentation, and this beer right here is 14 days fermentation. For the water, there's several things that you can add, but we look at the Edinburgh historical water, and we know what ours is, and so through adding different ingredients like gypsum or calcium sulfate, calcium chloride, or magnesium, not all those things all the time, and different ratios to get us so close to that water as it was when that beer became really the interesting beer style that it became. Hope that answered your question. Well, I don't think it's that fun watching me drink this beer, but I'm having fun drinking it. And I hope you guys have a good time on this. And don't forget, Friday and Saturday, curbside pickup this weekend. This one's $28 for a 64-ounce growler, or it's just one spot on your prepaid growler card. And those are available as well for $150. And you get 12 fills. Go to the foggynogginbrewing.com website, hit the beer tab. All the details are there, including the growler cards. And we hope to see you guys this weekend. Now, we were kind of hoping to open maybe up in our taste room on Saturdays back sometime in May, which is coming up next week is May. But the rumor is that Snohomish County is going to be moving back to phase 2, and we're going to kind of wait and see what happens Monday for Governor Inslee's announcement, because we don't want to open up and then have to retract back a little bit. So stay tuned. We'll let you know. Tomorrow night at 5:30 is the happiest half hour of the week, so make sure you join us and tell your friends. The more people that join, the more fun it is. We can have some chat going on, and you can talk to your friends, and you can make fun of me because I play the piano, sing some songs, or, well, you could call it singing, but we have a lot of fun, and it's the official start of the weekend every Thursday at 5:30 on Facebook Live. And will you be opening limited outside seating soon? Well, Dave, that depends on what Governor Inslee does with all the restrictions. I think with phase 3, we were kind of prepared to open up, but if we go back to phase 2, we're going to wait until we go back to phase 3. So stay tuned for that. And next week's virtual tasting on Wednesday is going to be a new blended ale, and it's going to be called Extra Innings. So with baseball going on, and extra innings makes the game really exciting when you get to those extra innings, and we have a new blend that's going to be coming out next week for our virtual tasting, and you'll be able to get growlers of that the following weekend. So hope to see you tomorrow night on our happiest half hour, and see you this weekend on Friday and Saturday for curbside pickup. Stay safe, everyone, and cheers.